live and in color from the NBC News radio broadcasting studios of KCAA 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, and 106.5 FM, located in beautiful sunny California. Thanks for tuning into the Water Zone. Good afternoon. My name is Rob Starr. I'm along with Mr. Mike Barron, which we normally call Mr. Mikeypedia, and he's just making a quick stop to get some news out of the computer and should be here in a sec. Anyway, together we're known as the Water Boys, so I hope everybody had a great week. It is a good week. It rained here, which is nice. We needed that, but you probably heard there's lots of floods and mud and people dying and people missing, and that's the bad part of that, because we had some fires up in Ventura County a couple weeks ago, major fires, and unfortunately it took away all the vegetation and nothing but mud came down, and it's kind of sad. And I know they're still looking for, I think, 8 people as of this afternoon that I heard. They made a mistake on the morning news. They reported 48 people missing. And then when they found out that was wrong, the news people got really angry and called back the public information officer and wanted to know what was happening. And anyway, they found that out. And so Mike's just walking in, got all the information from the news. If you want to call in and talk to us, please do. With any questions, you can call 888-909-1050 or 909-792-5222. And you can also watch us live on the website at kcaaradio.com, and we'll give you a little wave out there, and we'll be ready to go. So, Mike, how was your day today?
Well, it was pretty good, Rob. I'm just dealing with a little vocal issue, so hopefully the folks will.
Gives you more depth.
Yeah. My voice is, maybe it's changing. So who knows? Who knows?
Are you going through puberty?
That's right. Intellectual puberty, maybe.
Okay.
But anyway, I may have to excuse myself at any moment in time, but wow, there's a lot of news going on in California water.
Absolutely, and we have the right person who can tell us all that. The purveyor of Maven's Notebook, Miss Chris Austin. Chris, good afternoon.
Hey, good evening, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good. How's everything up at your end?
Hey, it's pretty good here. Thank God we weren't, over in Ventura County. Very bad things around Montecito.
Yep.
And talk about, those mudslides have also taken out the water system.
Yep.
And some major portions of it. So it's going to be a long time before even those that are still with the houses that are still standing are going to have, things like water, power. I mean, it's really ugly. So our prayers and thoughts go out to them out in Ventura County.
Absolutely. I heard a story that almost brought me to tears driving this morning. I guess as the fire people were going through the homes and police, the rescue people, they heard a faint cry, and it was a little baby under a year old, and it was buried in the mud. Anyway, the baby's fine. I mean, they rescued it, but God, that's got to be scary, compacted in mud.
Oh
yeah.
Can't even imagine it.
And it's hard to contemplate sitting inside your house that you are not safe. I mean, you get it if there's a fire coming over the hill, but other than that, you feel, pretty solid.
Why do people stay? They know they need to leave and they don't.
Yeah,
I think it's just hard, like I said,
it's your home. It's your home.
Sitting inside your home, you are not safe.
Like hope against hope, that you're hoping that maybe the reports are exaggerated, and that. Yeah. But I was talking about this with my daughter who was visiting, and we were just talking. It's got to be so different when you're in the middle of it, and you've got to make these decisions. Here we are, not under pressure, not listening to these reports directly, or being, getting a knock on the door where the policeman or the fireman is coming in and saying, listen, there's a recommendation for voluntary,
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. And then you mentioned the destruction or huge damage of a water system. Is that just one city, or is it a larger region?
Oh, actually, it affected the South Coast conduit, which takes water, I believe, into Santa Barbara, or access to Lake Kcaa. So that is taken taken out. So I don't believe that they can deliver state water project into Lake Kcaa right now because the conduit's out. I'm not entirely, I don't know that for absolute sure, but I know that they can't get water in and out of Lake Kcaa. And Montecito, it's not a big city, but they had a couple reservoirs that were actually large tanks. And they got their, at the top of their distribution line got taken out, and all of their reservoirs drained.
Oh,
and all the pipes and distribution lines are gone now as well. So it's like that whole system it sounds like, is pretty much going to have to be rebuilt. But you can't engineer a system to survive a mudslide like that.
No, can you imagine in a couple of days when everything dries out, all that mud inside those tunnels are solid?
Oh, yes. Oh, but anyway, speaking of decisions and changes and stuff, it was a busy day yesterday in water.
Yes.
Wouldn't you know, we had a change at the top.
Leadership,
at,
yes.
The Department of Water Resources. I happened to be sitting at my computer, and I got the first press release. The first one that came out was actually from Sonoma County Water Agency announcing that Grant Davis was returning as general manager.
Right.
And I sit on Sonoma County Water Agency's press release list, but not as much as of everybody else. So I actually had the honor of hitting Twitter first with the news.
Wow.
And delivering it into everybody's email box. And then about 10, 15 minutes later came the official announcement that Grant Davis was gone and Carla Navis was in. And all this at the same day when in the legislative hearing at the Capitol, they were discussing the Oroville crisis. And Grant Davis was actually supposed to be there in that hearing, and instead they sent in the deputy director and didn't really give an explanation for his absence. And so then I guess the timing was they finished up the hearing, and that's when all the press releases came out. So, yeah, it was definitely an interesting day.
Yeah.
Apparently, Grant Davis was not, that there were some personality issues, I guess, with how the governor and people wanted things to run, excuse me, and what Grant Davis was wanting to do, from what I understand.
Well, Carla Nemeth is that how you pronounce it, Nemeth or Namath? Came from Natural Resources.
Yeah, and Carla's been around for a long time. I remember Carla back when I first started in like 2007, 2008, right when the Bay Delta Conservation Plan was starting, and Carla went in to start selling that to the people in Stockton. So you're going to go try to sell the idea of what is essentially a peripheral canal in Stockton. That's like those are fighting words in Stockton. So I was really in awe that she had, what it takes to go in and face a crowd like that. So she's, she is not new to this. She's well versed in it all. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure that the Department of Water Resources has ever been led by a woman. There have been women in staff, but this, I think, is the first time that the director will be a woman. So, well,
that's kind of exciting. Yep. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, but I think it's great. I think it's good. You read her work experience, and it's quite significant.
Oh,
and,
yeah, she's definitely qualified.
Definitely prepares her for. And the thing I found of interest was the creation of two new deputy directors out of one old job. And I don't know if you got into that detail or not, Chris, but there's a new position called the Deputy Director for Flood Management and Dam Safety. So there's a focus on those two critical areas. And
yes,
so I think that makes sense from a strategic management standpoint.
But the public got to realize that whoever they put in these positions, it's not an overnight fix.
Oh, you're right. You're right, Rob.
I mean, that's, people think, oh, well, a new team knew this is going to all happen. It doesn't happen that quick in government, unfortunately.
Yeah, but, if the direction is correct in the development of the
Absolutely.
consensus and and you get the resources and that,
right.
That leadership, those leadership skills are very, very, very important. And then the second position is the Deputy Director for Integrated Water Management and Multi-Benefit Programs. And really the focus is going to be on long-range planning. They wanted to really get some focus in terms of managing California's water resources in light of the impact that climate change is having on, less snow, more rain. We rely on that snowpack to basically store a third of California's water needs every year. And if that half of that goes away or more, that's going to be a big issue.
You hire the water train and the cloud seeding company.
Well, there is a focus. They've kind of come. There's a lot of focus with groundwater management and recharging these aquifers and taking flood water and using flood waters to do that. And this is actually kind of new in terms of water management because in a lot of cases, flood is managed by a different agency and in a different manner. The idea with flood waters is to drain the city, drain it off the land, get it out as fast as possible so it doesn't damage people or property. And that's and now they want to take that water and they want to use that water to charge groundwater aquifers that are depleted, which is great. But we don't really have the infrastructure set up to carry that flood water to the place where it can sink into the aquifer and do some good. So we need to make some of those changes. We need some policy changes because we have to get now a lot of more agencies that aren't used to working together. We need to get them working together now. Where down over there where you are, you have the great model in the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority, where they have really taken people who were fighting and arguing,
suing each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They were suing each other.
Yeah, and they got them to sit down and play in the sandbox together. And they figured out, wow, we can do so much more. And they were actually one of the first to take the whole watershed approach. So, they're very progressive, and it's a great model. And I think that a lot of people in the state are going to be looking to, SAPA and similar projects, to see how they can be implemented on a statewide basis. And I think that, where elevating integrated regional water management is kind of important.
I wish the rest of the country would operate the same way with governments. But speaking of that, I hear there's this panel I put together to discuss legal issues associated with water conservation mandates.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's interesting, this idea that if the state tells you that you have to cut water use and you have water rights that say you can have a certain amount of water, and now the state is telling you have to cut your water use, is that considered a taking under, constitutional law? There are some interesting issues that are going to probably play out as we go through this, because the legislature is considering about how to make conservation a California way of life, and the way they're, bottom line is they want residents to use less water in the urban setting, and they're going to put requirements on urban water agencies to make that happen. So the water agencies are going to be told there'll be a formula that they would calculate out down. You figure out it's really down to figuring out residents. And, okay, there's 4 people in that house, and they each get 55 gallons a day. Indoors, outdoors, their lot is, how many square feet, and it can be, what percentage can be hardscape, what can be landscape, and then they get a score, and that's how much water they should be using. And the water districts are to calculate this all up, and they got to try and work towards reducing that water use in the community. And if they don't, then the water agency would get fined, possibly. I mean, there is an enforcement that would end, not fined right off the bat, but if you continue to not meet your target, you would eventually face fines.
You know, I'm as a private citizen, I'm all in favor of that. But I also would like to see the reverse, at least in California, where the legislation is spending money wildly on things that we don't need. And, you know, we don't get a say unless we go to vote for them, you know, every couple of years. And there's no ramifications for them unless you try to do recalls and things. I think fair is fair. I think that's a good idea, what they should do, because we're trying to be able to survive into the future. Like San Bernardino, they've got enough water, I read yesterday, to 2035 without doing anything, without adding any more.
Hopefully they had a good mathematician develop that forecast.
We hope so.
Well, you know, we're very fortunate here in Southern California in that our groundwater basins, for the most part, have been well managed, and they're not overdrafted. And in the Los Angeles area, Southern California area, down to San Diego, we do not have a critically overdrafted basin. Now, there are a few up in Ventura County, and there's one in Ridgecrest, but, you know, the urban population of Southern California, our groundwater has been excellently managed. And it's been adjudicated, of course, so the courts have gone in and said, you have to manage your groundwater. Right. But we've been doing it for decades.
Yep.
You know.
I agree. The water agency's done a great job all over. Well, anyway, we're coming up against our break. We do appreciate.
There was a couple more questions I wanted to ask, but we're going to have to. There was still a couple more questions I wanted to ask, Chris, but we'll have to, I guess, wait till next week. So I'll make a note of those, Chris.
No problem.
We miss you, and I hope you stay safe, and hope your area is okay.
Oh yes, and same to you.
All right, we'll catch you in a bit. Talk to you next week.
Okay, take care.
All right.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we're going to take a little break from our sponsors. We'll be back here on the KCAA, and stick around for more of the Water Boys. Thanks.
This is Brooke's yard, and Brooke loves spending time with her kids. What she doesn't love are the ugly bare spots in her lawn. That's why Brooke uses Scott's Easy Seed. Unlike seed alone, with proper care, Easy Seed's all-in-one growing solution grows grass anywhere. The first time, guaranteed. This is a Scott's yard. Pick up Scott's Easy Seed today.
Are you looking for a place to buy your landscape and gardening items? Come visit us at Site One Landscape Supply. We offer a large and quality selection of irrigation, landscape, and outdoor living products such as Toros water-efficient precision nozzles. Site One Landscape Supply has over 30 locations right here in Southern California, and we are the largest national wholesale distributor of landscape supplies in the United States. Site One's knowledgeable and friendly staff is equipped to help you with all your landscape, irrigation, and outdoor living projects. Whether you're redoing your backyard into a drought-tolerant garden or creating a water-efficient landscape for your client, Site One has everything you need, including the latest in water-saving technologies, drought-tolerant plants for your yard, irrigation supplies, fertilizer and weed control products, landscape accessories, hardscape products, outdoor lighting, and much, much more. Visit SiteOne.com to find a store near you or stop by today. Site One. We are stronger together.
Well, welcome back to the Water Zone. Hope everybody's having a great afternoon. It's been nice here in California, so we're kind of easing into the show. We do have a guest, and what's going to be, I'm going to be outnumbered here because we have 3 mics. We've got Mr. Mike Barron, who I call Mikeypedia, but we have 2 other gentlemen named Mike Jenza, if I pronounce it correctly, and Mike Cohen, and they're from a company called Magnation, and Mike Barron and I had the honor of meeting them a couple months ago in Las Vegas at a industry trade show, and they had a unique product, and we wanted them to come on and talk about it because it affects a whole bunch of different industries. This product that I'm going to I won't tell you what it is yet. I'll come on, but it goes across various markets such as agriculture, turf grass, industrial, landscape, residential, and even wellness, which is really an interesting topic. So I want to welcome the 2 mics to the show, and thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Rob and Mike. Thank you, guys. Really a pleasure being with you guys.
We appreciate that. Hey, can you tell, just for our listening audience, can you tell a little bit more about Magnation, how it started, what is it, and what do you do? And then we can go into a little bit more in depth about your products.
Sure. Magnation started in 2008 and started in California and started with basically trials in the valley, both in the Salinas area and Kern County. But we've been existing now for 10 years, and we've been manufacturing the products that go in line, and they basically restructure the water and break up the mineralization in the water, and help the flow, help infiltration, and kind of convert irrigation, hard irrigation water into a more permeable, more productive water.
So does that your treatment or your process by which you maybe treat the water, I don't know if that's the right word to use for your technology, but it does something so that water perhaps penetrates the ground more easily, more effectively, and actually can more accessible to the plant material. Is any of that part of that process?
Without giving away any of your trade secrets, can you tell a little bit about the technology at a 50,000-foot level?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything I can tell you today, I've myself, this is Mike Jenza speaking, and I've learned from the farmers. We probably have over 20,000 installations in the field, and the concept of rainwater came up with one of our farmers in Porterville, and he happens to be a physicist, and he said, "What do you think the difference between rainwater and irrigation water is?" I mean, we get pristine water out of the Sierra Mountains, and it comes into our orchard and puddles up, and it gets mixed with half-inch of rain, and it permeates a lot easier. And
but also, doesn't the rain, when the rain comes down, it affects with the falling from the sky with the different pressure and breaks things up and
yes, and well, his explanation was it goes through atmospheric magnetic fields, and it gets the charge in it. And in fact, NASA has a great YouTube video of an anatomy of a droplet, water droplet, and how it moves, through the atmosphere and splits and spins. And so what we try to do is mimic that process with our devices that we manufacture, put a geometric and a magnetic charge into the water, so it doesn't need to be plugged in, doesn't need to be maintained, it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need any chemicals or anything. So, but that's what we're doing, is we're mimicking that process. And in agriculture, as you know, the puddling is an issue, runoff is an issue, evapotranspiration or percolation on sandy loam soils. And when you do this process on the water, you're unleashing the water molecule, because it's typically coming out of the ground. It's got bicarbonates, it's got mineral salts that tend to lock up the soils and make things more difficult on farmers. Like, for instance, in orchards, the idea of water productivity is that if let's say if you have stick-tite issues on almonds, you shake the tree during harvest and you get most of the almonds off the tree, but you have some stick-tites left, and you have to send people to kind of pick those, and becomes a very costly issue. But when they install these units, they get better water infiltration, absorption, and nutrient uptake. So stress levels of trees or row crops is, it's during July, August is it goes down dramatically. Issues with spider mite issues, for instance, go away because mites tend to kind of come in when there's weakness in the field, in the plant, and so we've seen that over and over again with farmers, in the Midwest here, overseas with stadiums and ballparks and so on.
Mm-hmm. So this uses a specific technology. Can I get into a little bit of that, or like I said, I don't want to.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have a patent on a product. We're working on 2 or 3 other patents right now. They're pending, but we haven't. I think what. Sure, I'm open to any questions you have.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'll keep it at 50,000.
You can always say we'd rather not comment on that. Visit our website.
We're not trying to get into that specific thing. But what's unique about your product? You can save approximately 20% in water consumption by having this technology. It can reduce chemical use anywhere from 10 to 50%. It also saves in energy consumption. And I saw some pictures you have that's on your website about the different crops, like tomatoes and some other things, where you can actually, of the same acreage or footage, you can actually boost production up to 30%, 10 to 30%. And there's no zero byproducts, which I think is, the world's looking for in today's things. Are you seeing more in your business, since you cover a wide variety of industries and things? Do you see the biggest or the one that, if you had to pick the one of the most value that this could bring, would it be the ag side? And then I want to ask you about the wellness, because that intrigues me as well.
Anywhere that water is being used, for instance, people, when you drive down I-5, you see all the signs about the water, how important water is, and so on. Without water, you can't grow, and but when you look at golf courses, they use a lot more water than a farm does. But we have one case that in British Columbia, Vancouver, that they've seen a 2.5 million gallon per month savings. That's approximately 80,000 gallons a night. Mm-hmm. Their salts have leached out. They're not dealing with the same diseases that they were before. So my heart's in the agriculture, because I like the people that are in that business, and I've been blessed to be there. Mm-hmm. And Mike Cohn, he's more in the ball park side of things, and golf and sport fields and so on. So, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
as far as
a lot of the farming and even golf courses or even the landscape, they sometimes use fertigation systems. So if they do, I'm just asking the question. So in that kind of environment, would this be post fertigation, after fertigation? Because what I'm asking basically is the fertigation portion going through your system, would that cause a problem?
Not at all. In fact, we have units on sprayer types, like, for instance, on orchards, they use the Aeroblast sprayers in California, and in golf courses, you got the Toro sprayers, or in the Midwest, they use the John Deere sprayers, and in Europe, they have the Agrofac, and in fact, the quality of the droplets that come out of the water. If I'm answering your question, I mean, if you're spraying the water that's gone through our system, ideally you install the system after you inject your fertilizers. Mm-hmm. But you get more uniformity of droplet size. You get less runoff. You have it impacts drift, because your uniformity of your droplets is a lot uniform.
Right.
Your angles of spraying kind of widen up, and you don't have the runoff.
So you're saying your technology actually affects the geometric shape of the water droplet?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because what happens, when you say water, water is, we're not just talking H2O, we're talking H2O and all the total dissolved solids that are in there, and the gases that are trapped in those solids, like whether it's nitrates or sulfates, or in the city you have the chlorine that they become an insulation for the water molecule. So that's why you get the runoffs, and because that water is not infiltrating, that's why you start using wetting agents to help that water become more productive. But what this process does is to help stimulates the electrons in the water, polarizes the minerals, breaks them up, and separates them. So, I can tell you one of our water tests that we did with the customer did and sent it to a lab. Their TDS levels of 4,000 approximately came down to 3,500. The sodium went from 16 to 1,200, and the calcium went up from was it 19 to 33 or something like that, and as well as the magnesium. So there was a good ratio of magnesium-calcium that came after the treatment. But most importantly in that water test, the sodium absorption ratios dropped by 50%.
So does that mean that, because salt buildup, salinity in soils, whether it's golf courses or agricultural sites, that's becoming a bigger issue because, one, the water that becomes available seems to be a little more, saline. There's a lot of research in universities going on with, the how inert or how well do plants do? Which plants do the best with high saline content in the water supply? So you're saying the sodium atoms are still there. It's just that they don't create the problem that they would create if you didn't treat the water. Is that a correct interpretation?
What happens with sodium? It locks everything up. It collects everything onto itself. And so when you're doing a water test, you show your sodiums up and calciums are down, and then you end up putting gypsum into the ground, because of that. But when you shake those minerals apart and polarize them and separate them, then you actually see what you have in your water. And there are some salts that you can solubilize in there, but yeah, everything's in there, and it's necessary to have those things in there. That's why well water works a lot better, in growing crop than, city water or, other types of waters. But, yeah, if that's answering your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
So all these other things that you could find, such as mineral scale buildup, iron, bacteria, and all this stuff, that as it goes through your system, this helps break that down into a negligible or much less content. And does it change? Does it change the temperature as it affects the molecules?
It does.
Okay.
Very, very. If you were doing a test on it, it would be negligible change, but it does make a difference on it. Yeah.
So I've got a question for you. This might be getting into the technical weeds too much. So if it is, you can say, yeah, we probably don't get into that. But in agricultural applications, oftentimes farmers will have what we call coefficients. What's the plant factor? What's the plant factor terminology? But in ag, they're called. Well, it's basically a number that identifies what percent of reference ET needs to be used to apply water. It gives you a way to calculate how much water your crop needs, and one of the things that saves water is obviously a good schedule, a schedule that replaces the lost moisture based upon yesterday's weather. The hotter it is or the windier it is, that affects your schedule in terms of applying more water to replace what was lost. And at the end of the crop growing season, you look at, well, how much water did you use? Did you use 100% of ET, or did you use 80% of ET or 60% of ET as a way of measuring the effect, how effective your water management strategy was? And I'm just curious, the farmers that you are involved with, do they ever mention something like that to you, or are they more focused on just how many total gallons of water did I save?
Most farmers that I've been involved with, I think the water conservation aspect of it is takes a second or third priority for them. I think.
Oh, really?
I'll say that in a way where, let's say, if they have an infiltration issue, then if the puddling issue or runoff or percolation problems, then the water savings is not, doesn't come to mind at that point. They want to just get the water into the plant, and if you could help, demonstrate that water getting in, that meaning not just getting into the plant, but as or the soil, but as well as the plant, you're going to see it in the quality of the plant and the yield of the plant. And just like the stick dot issue or the spider mite problems, or like in the Midwest where they they use center pivots there. If you were back in 2010, we did a trial in western Kansas where the farmer said, "Well, I'm going to see how this thing is going to help us out, so I'm going to put it in the middle of my towers." He had a half-mile pivot, and he put it on the third tower in from the center. And then later we did some satellite imagery and kind of for vegetation pattern and so on. It was a night and day difference, and what you do with the water that you have. It's the question really, and if you could improve its quality and its productivity. So it doesn't. Another example of if you go out with hard water and try to wash your car with it, you're going to leave all the spotting on the car. But if those minerals are not sticking together, you won't see the spotting. And so,
can I ask another question? And this has to do with sports fields. The factors that drive the turfgrass manager at a sports field, or maybe the superintendent, to want to use your product, is it also about the infiltration issue first and foremost, or is it more on the water saving side of the decision making process? From a marketing standpoint, I'm very curious as to if the parks and or sports fields, those people kind of approach what your product can do, the benefits of your product, if they approach that the same way that farmers do.
Sure. I mean, everybody is a skeptic at first, right? You have to prove it to them, and that's why we have sizes from quarter inch to and up, because if they're using a 3/4 inch hose, we have devices that go on the hoses. And if they're, hand watering, they're going to notice the difference. How long they have to stand out there to get the water moisture into the ground, and so that's our way in. Or if they're washing their equipment that have, they have salt residues on them, they can see how they can or we have the same type of product we could install under a sprinkler head in a dry spot or a hydrophobic area where, you take a green and install, a couple of units under one under each sprinkler, and you could see after a week that whole environment changes. It becomes.
You can actually see a difference in a week's worth of watering that quickly?
Yes. If you talk to some of the superintendents that we, in one case, there's a superintendent on the golf course for 25 years. He says, I asked him the same question. I said, this is a common question. You can actually see it. How long would it take you to see it? He said, you could see it if your eyes are trained. If you're on the field doing things, you could see it within the first 30 seconds. In fact,
wow.
when we're at the World Ag Expo, one of the things that I do is I treat a little Dixie cup of water with our device and one without, and I just dump them on the ground. There's the sand underneath, so it's bare ground. So you could see which one gets in and doesn't bubble up. It doesn't have that surface tension on it.
And
So,
I would assume the farmers are looking for a couple things. One, obviously conservation of water. Well, let me restate that. Use less water but get more yields.
Yes.
And I'm not a farm expert, but I know the science of farming from when I was born to today is absolutely, totally different. And I'm assuming the bigger farms or the more sophisticated farms use, as Mike said, ET information. But I would also assume they probably would use some sort of soil moisture sensors, because I always believe that's a complete feedback system where the ET tells you when you need to water, but the soil moisture tells how much you got to water. And
sure.
do you find on the farming side that that's a big deal to them, and or am I off that they want to increase the yield with less water, or getting that? Is that a major thing to them?
I think contrary to what people think of who farmers are, I think farmers are way ahead of the game. I think they see, they can eyeball it even. Some the guys that know it, but it's important for them. But again, I think troubleshooting is the most important. It's the signs of what the water is not doing is for me is the important thing to notice.
Right.
I would think farmers are, as you mentioned earlier, in terms of when they have puddling or they are they struggling with getting the water to infiltrate so that the crops can get the adequate amount of moisture that they need. That solving their problem, their biggest problem. If you can do that with your technology, seems to me that would be very attractive to the farmer.
I know. On your website, I was just showing Mike here all the different tests and things that you've done for all different areas, and it's amazing to see the big difference between. I'm looking here at the one on the turf grass comparison on whatnot. That's pretty substantial. So,
yeah, what is that website, by the way? Just so folks might be interested in looking up some of that information.
It's rainlikewater.com.
Oh, that's good.
Simple.
Yeah. As far as turf, you said how long does it take? If you're working on an orchard, let's say if you're, have a unit on an orchard versus a turf field, you can see the results a lot quicker on a turf field. I mean, Tulare Golf Course, they just did a trial. I'd be happy to send you that some of the pictures that came in from one of our dealers in the area, that they had a 12-day early germination that was mind-boggling for a lot of us. That bent grass, germinated quicker, and so.
Combine that technology with Pearl's Premium, you got one heck of a, system.
Yeah.
It is. It's sometimes it sounds like too good to be true. And I look around. I've been at it for 10 years, and as the results keep coming in, I mean, when you're talking about health aspects, I mean, we have organic dairy guys that they call in. They say their somatic cell count in the milk went down, from 400,000 to 30,000.
Just for our audience, somatic cell count. Can you kind of explain that?
I had to look it up when I heard it first, but
well, we can tell our audience to do that too. So I don't mean to put you on the spot.
It's like when I asked my mom how to spell the word. She says, "Look it up in the dictionary." I said, "If I knew how to spell it, I wouldn't need the dictionary." So
yeah, right.
Same thing.
So I did the same thing. Somatic. I had to. But it's the bacteria count that has to be under a certain number to be approved for the milk to be approved for consumption. If that answers it.
So how does this fall into the wellness? Because I'm interested in that as well.
Well, hydration, number one. Most inflammation is due to lack of hydration. Most of the most diseases are waterborne diseases. Most issues that we have are water related. So if you could improve your water, I mean, you can tackle the issue a lot quicker and faster. So hydration and nutrient uptake. So if you could convert those minerals into electrolytes, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Your body's going to absorb them easier. We have these units in poultry farms where, chickens are healthier. They're less stressed in the heat. Same thing with livestock. Goats have, some goats have arthritis in their front knees, and when they drink this water after a while, that goes away. This is direct Amish testimonial.
So when you see these ads on television for the water purifiers for your home, I won't mention the brands; it doesn't matter. But then they say, "Oh, we have zero TDCs and all of that stuff." And there's also water agencies throughout the country that add fluoride to the water,
right? And chlorine,
and chlorine, yeah,
or chloramines.
Yeah. What does that do to the water, and with all this other chemicals added in?
Sure. Well, what it does to gases, like chlorine, what chlorine does. This is something I learned from a NASA scientist. He was a water expert. He said chlorines insulate the water molecule, and that's why, over time, you could see it in some of these hot tubs that they run, throw in chlorines, but tiles are still turning yellow and grout is getting, picking up things. So on one hand, you're keeping the bacteria out, but on the other hand, you're also consuming it. Now, I have a pocket unit that I use whenever I buy a cup of coffee. I run my coffee through it. It reduces its acidity. It kind of takes out the bubbles out of it. All the chlorines that the coffee comes with. Mm-hmm. So anytime you can add physics to what you're drinking, and even wine and other things, you don't have to deal with the sulfites.
Can this be used in a pool application?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you mean in a pool application to replace chlorination, or do you mean?
Or what do you do?
To aid to reduce the amount of chlorines that you would need and have energy in the water. Odor, actually, it eliminates odor, like salt. Hydrogen sulfide has that rotten egg smell. Chlorine, as you know, is very smells, and so you could eliminate that pretty easily.
I know in the I don't have an above ground pool. I have in ground spas at my house, and I know when people who have the above ground, the separate units, they sell things to pour into it because you get all the oils from people and everything else that's in that water. And if you recycle these through the pumps, would that help getting rid of that, or does it? What does it do?
Well, first of all, when you put a unit like this on the exit of the pump, I have actually have one on post my pump and under recirculating, as it goes, comes back, so it gets treated twice. Advantages of being in the business. But it also impacts the way the pump runs. I mean, when we install these units, let's say for farmers, if they have a 12-inch line and they're running 2,000 gallons a minute through their system, at 40, 50 psi, as soon as they put the unit on, their GPMs goes up to 2,400 GPMs, and they're blown away by it. They say, that's the first sign of return on investment,
right?
And so they start looking at other things and get curious about their infiltration, the amount of gypsum they use, or the stress levels of the trees, or what have you.
Right.
But as far as health, I mean, we have a tabletop unit. We have I have small kids, and so does Mike. And everything we drink, everything they drink, whether it's milk, juice, apple juice, water, it's treated with these devices, and it's we're neck in committed with it. So we believe in the product, and
absolutely.
The beauty about it is this technology's been around. We're not the we're the Johnny-come-latelys in it, but it's been around a long time. What we're doing is that we're trying to make a product that people can afford and try, because we're not just selling the 12-inch, $10,000 units, but we're selling, the $150, $200 units, so people can afford them.
Right.
You see what it does for them.
Now, is there any interchangeable parts, or once the water goes through this thing, and again, I won't go into the deep technical stuff because I don't want to do that. I don't want to give secrets away for your products. But so when the water goes through this, does anything inside that pathway have to be changed, cleaned, done once it's installed, or no?
No.
Okay.
This is basically like a static mixer, magnetic static mixer. So the energy itself spins the water because the way the magnetic field is designed on these units, it helps with that pressure of the water comes through. There are several laws of physics that come into play: Lorentz force, the Venturi, atomization, and a lot of different things with the vortex, and
right.
That basically agitate that water and kind of liven it up, just like a river coming out of the mountain. So
right. Have you done anything? I know you call it the wellness. Have you done anything with hospitals, for example? We
have some installations on hospitals, but it's selling this product or marketing it to the health industry hasn't been our number one target. Agriculture has been heavy water users. Guys that are using, whether greenhouses and. But
is there any regulatory? Is there any regulatory things that go with this? Like, does it have to be EPA?
No.
Is it no electronics? So I mean, it's no UL or any of that. So.
No,
okay.
Not at all.
All right, so they can. Because we're up against the news break here for NBC. But so if they want to find more about you, they can go to
Rain like water.
Rain like water. I'm sorry, I had it backwards here. I feel like I'm dyslexic today. But no, we appreciate you coming on the show today, and I'm going to read some more of this stuff, and I think there's some other opportunities we could talk about down the road.
Appreciate you guys.
Great. You guys have a great time. Thanks for joining us. And we'll talk to everybody next week. And the most important thing to do this week is to think blue. Good night, everybody.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising, DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising, 909-222-9293.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that would clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
Start the new year off right with fermented green tea at its best. Quantum Nutrition Lab's revolutionary Green Tea PG provides all the benefits of green tea through a probiotic culture delivery system. So even those with poor digestion can absorb the full spectrum of green tea's phytonutrients. For a limited time, buy 2 bottles of Green Tea PG and get the 3rd one free. Call 888-588-7578. That's 888-588-7578. Or visit us online at qnlabs.com. That's qnlabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Our product line, Quantum Nutrition Labs, delivers what others only promise, nutrition that really works.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-643-6931 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-643-6931 to take your call now. Call 1-800-643-6931. That's 1-800-643-6931. Again, 1-800-643-6931.
For more local radio every day, tune into Kcaa.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Penn.
And welcome You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and then syndicated on my CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere on iHeartRadio. And this is a show about hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. No T-words either, no Kardashian talk or the 43rd talk. So, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And it is Happy New Year. This is our first show in the auspicious, fabulous year of 2018. I am so looking forward to it. I hope you are too. 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homonym for good fortune. So everyone is going to have good fortune this year. I called it, I see it, I know it, and I know it for you. And it started off with a bang already. I got nominated for the Excellence in Entrepreneurship Award for 2018. Thank you very much. As well, I signed a book deal with Morgan James Publishing, New York publisher, and my books will be on Barnes & Noble bookshelf August 7th, 2018. I'm so grateful. The foreword's already been written by Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, and it's been endorsed, already written by Neil Donald Walsh, as well as Muhammad Ali's daughter, Layla Ali. So I'm ramping up. I want you to ramp up. I want you to believe that you can accomplish anything that you put your heart and mind to this year. And a peace in, peace shout out. The first one is for the fabulous citizens of the world I got to meet while I was on a holiday trip to the Great White North, my birthplace, Canada. I know you thought I was Swedish. And a short story to show how small the world is. I was in my Lyft drive on my way to Pearson Airport, and I was talking to Layla about her endorsement of my book, and the driver said, you know, I love her father so much that he named his son Muhammad Ali. So that is how, so a peace shout out to Nazarene and Jawad. Excellent customer service goes out to WestJet Captain Dan and the host with the most, Brian, and crew, Jamal at the Urban Street Restaurant, Pearson Airport, and Annette at Caruso Ford Lincoln. As you know, everybody's complaining all the time. I want to highlight those customer service interactions that are fabulous. And peace in, peace out. Shout out to the City Summit Wealth Mastery Red Carpet event. Great speakers, great foundation, great people. If you remember, last year, the City Gala event brought me together with Halle Berry, John Travolta, billionaire John Paul DiGiorio, and Quincy Jones. This year, it will be Ashton Kutcher. So Ryan Long does it again. He'll be back on the air with me with some of the beneficiaries. This is a man you want to keep your eye on because he's bringing not just Hollywood together, but Hollywood together and linking them with organizations that are minimizing and reducing drug trafficking, sexual trafficking, food hungry, Feed a Billion, all these great organizations that are all about remedying the darkness on the planet, using stars who have their limelight and taking it and shining in those areas of darkness so that we can all be citizens of the world and make this a better place, because we all want to leave this world a better place than when we found it. So I'm grateful for the association. Remember, March 2nd to 4th is when you'll get to see and listen to Ashton Kutcher, one of the speakers. There will be extra ones I can't talk about right now, but go to citygala.org or citysummit.co to get your tickets. And now for today's show, what do you get when you cross Santana with a hug? You get our show today. It is, I have Andy Varga, who is, everybody knows him. I've had so many people go, oh my gosh, Santana's going to be on the air. And Rick Morrison. I have people going, oh, Rick Morrison. Don't worry. You're getting equal 11 and anticipation. We are talking about hugs today because National Hug Day is coming up January 21st, and this is not going to be any ordinary hug day. We are going to be breaking Guinness World Book records. So without further ado, please welcome to my studio Andy Varga and Rick Morrison. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I am happy and grateful. How are you?
I'm the same, just shining off of you.
Aw, thank you so much, and so good to have you, Rick. We've
It's
been trying to
great to
get you
see
on
you.
the show for a little while. I'm glad it finally happened. And we're just going to jump right into introducing the Hug Alliance and the Hug Day by showing you a little clip that's so cute because it has lots of our little citizens talking about why it's important to hug.
Hugs are universal at the same time as energy giving, because whenever you hug, it makes another person stay happy.
I think hugs are important because they show love. They show you care.
Can't wait to see you on National Hugging Day, January 21st. My band Soleros will be playing. I'd love for everyone to come. God bless.
Hi, I'm Shonda, and I wrote the book called The Hug Store. And join me at National Hugging Day, where we celebrate hugging. I all want you guys to be there.
We think the world needs a big hug.
Hugs make us feel better.
Please help us on January 21st to set the world record for the biggest hug.
Hi, I'm Kevin Sporting, creator of National Hugging Day, celebrated every January 21st. Join me at the Agape Center in Culver City, California, this January 21st, 2018. Big hug!
Yay! That is so awesome. And Andy Vargas was at the end of that, endorsing the actual day and blessing us all. Can't wait to see you there. I am so excited. It's the reason why I really wanted to support this is because we have a lot of negativity going on. And I believe that if we fight against something, we'll get more of it. So the best way to remedy things that are not working is to move in the direction of something that is working.
Amen.
And hugging is, why hugging? So you're the founder of Hug Alliance. Where'd that come from?
You know, it is. Being anti-anything never really gets you that far. Being pro, whatever your mission, whatever you're called for, is everything. So hugs, much like music, is a universal language. You know, when you hug somebody, globally now it's recognized as a sign of comfort, of peace, of welcoming, of acknowledgement. And those type of things are now universal. And a comment I've made for many, many years was, when you hear a singer, you know, you hear Aretha Franklin sing, or you hear Carlos Santana play a musical note, it transcends language and culture, and it's this thumbprint of universal language.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you actually have a book. I'm going to give you a little love for your book. This is called The Hug Store, and you are co-author with Shauna, who was also on the video, your daughter, and you wrote this book, The Hug Store, which is a beautiful book, but has grown into this giant endeavor that is beyond the book.
It's the scope is really reached beyond the book, beyond what we ever really intended. It almost wasn't a book. So we're so glad this was kind of called forth. But Shauna, this was actually her idea to do this book based on a true story of events that actually happened with her, with my family. And to move that forward, she wanted to celebrate when she heard there was a National Hugging Day. And that's how this whole thing kind of all collectively came together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then you wrangled Andy Vargas to join you in this. How did that happen?
He didn't have to do too much wrangling.
Okay.
I'll tell you that right now. No, it was very easy. Rick and I go back. We're old friends from when I used to work at RCA. He was also worked at the record label RCA BMG, and I was an artist on that label. We knew each other then. I felt a connection there, artistic connection. and he always believed in me, always, and that meant a lot. And you know, I learned through the school of hard knocks that fighting back is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
To join the forces in positivity and change, you know, yourself first, and then you can change someone else.
Right.
So, you know, Rick, as a matter of fact, reached out to me through Facebook. We reconnected, and he's always been a fan of Santana as well. And so, lo and behold, over the years, he was following us as we, you know, grew as a band and toured the world. And that was really special to hear. And he told me about his book. I had recently, my daughter was just born. And
what's her name?
Her name is Alessandra.
Alessandra, beautiful. How old is she now?
She's just turned 4 on the 26th of December.
Great age.
Yeah.
Great age.
And I also have a little Nico. He just turned 1. And I showed her the book, and she couldn't wait until she was going to meet little Shauna. And so we did. We set up a play date, you know, out at the park.
Daddy-daughter play date. So fun.
But it was like this magical thing. I've never seen this in a kind of excitement, really. And so my daughter, she just projected this energy, and she has always, you know, talked of her and you know, so when we talked about the power of hugging, you know, I can relate in many, many ways. First off, with my daughter, and sometimes you just need to hug a child.
Yes.
And you know, when they're crying, and you know, when a parent wants to get upset, frustrated, or if you've had a bad day, and the first thing you do is snap back.
Right.
Boy, they didn't want to hear that. They really needed your love, but they're not telling you that.
Right.
And so now, because of this book, it makes me emotional talking about it. My daughter comes to me and says, "Dad, I just need a hug." And so that changed our relationship.
Right.
And that's going to transcend our whole life, God willing.
Yes.
So anyhow, that's how we reconnected. You know, I'm always working on my musical endeavors, and I'm just grateful to be able to bring it to the Agape Spiritual Center, one of you know, my favorite you know, places close to my heart. You know, Michael Beckwith, I've met him over the years.
It's my big brother.
Different you know, events and things, and his son Kilu is an old friend of mine as well.
Oh, great!
And you know, and we spoke. You know, one time Kilu and I were talking, and he said, you know, my dad's a very spiritual person. You know, and I was like, wow, you know, who's your dad? I didn't know this. This was years ago, and then you know, hence The Secret and you know, the you know, Spiritual Center and all of the lives he's touched. To you know, basically give people permission, you know, that we all right.
That's
yeah.
So
I hope his ears are burning. I'll text him. I forgot to warn him. Usually I tell him who's on the air.
Oh gosh. Well,
so
anyhow.
Well, he'll hear it after. But Thank you,
Michael.
He is amazing, amazing. Thanks, big brother. And he's very humble. Because this is, you know, for him, this is just what he does. But I'm sure he appreciates all of that love. And, you know, when you were talking, 2 things came up. One was da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But we're not going there. Every time you say Santana, that's what I think of. But the other is the power of hugs. And I just wanted to take a minute. I loved what you said, that instead of talking or discussing or teaching or correcting, the first thing, what would the world be like if every time we felt like retorting, we said, hold on a second, let's have a hug, and then we'll continue.
That's
right?
Powerful.
Right?
Yeah.
What would happen? And let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it before we say something that is whatever we think we need. You know, people, my clients all the time say, but I have to speak my mind. And I go, no, you don't have to. You really don't have to.
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Choice is function of awareness, and you're not aware, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I learned that I want to invite you to you know, we talk about how can we love other people? How can we appreciate other people when we don't appreciate ourselves? And the healing work that I've been starting to do, heart-centered healing work, is actually hugging ourselves and saying what we say to children when they fall down.
Oh, yes.
So if you make a mistake, so just take a breath with me now, and remember something that you did or said that you weren't proud of. Okay, so if you're listening right now, just think of something that you kind of regret. You wish you hadn't said it. You wish you hadn't done it. I know I said something over the holidays to my brother, and I'm not proud of it. So I'm bringing that up, and I'm holding myself, and I'm taking a breath, and I'm going to say, it's going to be okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. It's okay. In the same way that we say it to a child, we say it to ourselves.
Yes.
And we forgive ourselves first and foremost. And when we can do that on a consistent basis, what will this world be like? We will have peace on earth.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I just felt like doing that. It's a great way to start the year,
Yes,
even
it is.
for people who have made resolutions and have already fallen off of the whatever, wagon or whatever. It's okay. It's not important that we made the days. It's more important that, okay, so I blew it yesterday. I can start over at any time.
Anytime.
Anytime. And we emphasize that with a hug.
Yeah.
Yes?
And when you're in that hug for more than a second or two, hopefully it's not a lot of space in between people and
Air hug?
Air hug.
Yeah.
Icky air hug.
Yeah, but
but you get that connection point where it's almost like a little mini meditation. There's a pre, there's a during, and there's a post, and you kind of are out of time. For a minute, you are just right there.
Yeah.
And then you can make those higher choices.
Yeah.
And hugs are so powerful. There's so much merging of science and research and everything around hugs now that, it's really okay to hug.
Yeah.
But it does start with yourself, and that's a really good point about we do a hugging selfie Saturday where people send us hugs of them because you can't give it until you bring it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
That just
even know
started,
that.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And if you just tuned in and you're wondering who I have in my fabulous studio today, I have two fabulous men. One is Rick Morrison, the founder of The Hug Alliance and the co-author of The Hug Store, and Mr. Andy Vargas, who is not just the lead singer of Santana, he also has his own group now called Solaris. Did I pronounce that properly?
Very close. Soleros, but thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to have to put on a different hat with
It's
that
okay.
one.
It's all right.
I like the way you say it better. Tell me a little bit about your group.
Soleros. We are a blend of Latin R&B and Latin grooves and R&B soul. Soleros. Boleros are what I was raised in singing, Spanish ballads, and this were just something that I've been, that's been living within me for many years, and I've been recording my own songs for many years, and this style of music, my roots of mariachi music has always come through, and I've always loved R&B. I've always loved Stevie, Marvin, and joining the Santana band. Fast forward. Carlos, he just, engraved Marvin Gaye in my spirit,
Yeah.
Lou Rawls.
Yeah.
I mean,
How did that all happen?
Well, it was, it was Carlos's, search, when Supernatural was released. They had a new album with, English and Spanish again, and, hip hop and some old school, So, there was a casting, or audition, excuse
right.
me. And I was with RCA working with someone, Ron Fair and Dave Novak. Remember those guys?
Yeah.
And they said, man, this thing just really sounds like you. This looks like you. Just go and check this out. So I just went open-heartedly and did the best I could. And Carlos and I connected, and here we are. Now I've been able to, experience and learn, ultimately learn from, one of the greatest in the world.
That's fabulous. I heard, or I read somewhere in the research that there was no doubt in his mind. He heard you sing, and he said, that's it. You are it. And
praise God. We learn. It's just constant learning, and just are we ready to learn? Are we ready to be open and learn? And I know he is. And he said something to me that will always stick in my mind, because I used to be always like a little bird asking him questions all the time, 20 years old in the band. Like, hey,
Right.
how about this? How about this? And finally, I'm sure he was like, hey, man, but
Chill.
chill. But I used to say, man, what is it like? I mean, we're going to do this wonderful thing today. This is like, we're going to go play, the Super Bowl. And you have me on stage singing next to Beyonce, and I knew Beyonce from back, and the labels and stuff. And he's like, man, my life is a Super Bowl every day.
Wow.
I like
Powerful.
him.
Yeah.
Please bring him on here. If you can get him on here, I mean, that is the key to life. Not just that mindset, but surrounding yourself with people with that mindset that see every single day as a joyride.
Yes.
Every single day for me is a stop on the joyride of my life.
Yeah.
I say all the time, if I should be taken to the next in transition, there is nothing that I regret, and there's nothing that I haven't done to this point that I want.
Yes.
I love my life.
Yes.
I remember the moment when that line between work and play disappeared. I am so grateful and so lucky to do what I do. And the people, they'll hear me vent like, 12% of the time because you need contrast. But here's another Dr. Marissa Balance challenge. Can you, every single day in 2018, look for the good and be grateful and appreciate what it is so that you can say, if this was my last breath, I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah?
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah? You've got it.
Yes.
You've got it. And you've got it. And we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Right?
We're bringing
okay.
it. Yep.
So enough. I'm talking too much. Sorry. I would like
You're good.
you to explain now what this massive Guinness World Book Records is going to be like a week from now, a little less than 2 weeks from now. We are going to converge on my beloved spiritual community. I'm actually on faculty at Agape, so you're going to have to take one of my classes. But at Agape International Spiritual Center on January the 21st, we are going to break 3 Guinness World Book Records.
Correct.
That is the goal, and we need you. So take it away.
Dr. Marissa is going to go through who actually we do need, but I'm going to back up and just the book that came through Shauna and I, the Hug Store, last year on National Hugging Day, we did a little online social media promotion. Send us your pictures hugging. It was small. It was kind of really a nothing thing, but it was whatever. We did what we could at the time. We set an intention to throw a really big celebration the following year. And that's powerful because all year long, things just started to come to us. And that is really the beauty in this is that we started a Hug Alliance. And this Hug Alliance is a group of like-minded organizations that are all putting our social media and amplifying our message. And the founder, Kevin Zaborny, who's a Michigander like myself, he's been doing this 32 years. And it's globally recognized, but it really hasn't had the lift every year that it really, truly deserves. And this year, with participation from Andy Vargas and Soleros, and actually having Huggies be a sponsor to us who really believes in the power of hugs, we were able to say, well, what do we want to do? Well, we want to integrate. We want to be able to tell the world how important hugs are and have research to back it up. So that day we're going to have 4 or 5 researchers, medical doctors speaking about the power of hugs. We're going to have amazing entertainment from Andy Vargas. We're going to have children's things galore, celebrity children's authors. And the biggest of those is going to be all nationalities in one hug. We're striving for 100. We need at least 50 to break the record.
Right. So Guinness Book World of Records has 50 nationalities that holds the record. So we want at least 51. We already have 42 nationalities, and I just went through my Rolodex, and if you're listening, any of my friends, we could use anyone from, are you ready? Denmark, Macedonia, I think I've got that one, I just met him at the red carpet this weekend, Estonia, Israel, Colombia, North Korea, we have South Korea, Mongolia, Tibet, and Ukraine. Now that's just my list. That doesn't mean that, if you're not from one of those, we still may need you. because we have a list that I'm actually going to post on my site after the show. To you go down that list, and we can have more than even 3 or 4 just for security and backup.
Yes.
So if you're from a small country, especially, I think anywhere that the good news about Russia breaking up is we've got a lot more countries that we can use for the nationalities from the old bloc countries, and that would be great. So the place to sign up is
thehugmob.com. You could also find a link from thehugalliance.net.
And the other one is an interesting one from outer space, a hug from outer space.
Right. So the 2 remaining Guinness World Records that are going to be broke, one is, it's actually an interstellar one where we have partnered with Mattel's Children's Hospital at UCLA, which will have a child there, and there'll be a few children that get to hug an astronaut in the space station with these virtual reality kinetic vests where you hug, and it's actually giving a selfie, hug selfie, and then they feel it and it comes back, and then you feel it down on Earth. So that's exciting. And I actually said to Guinness, are you going to be able to call yourself the world? You have to be like the intergalactic records for that. It's changing them up a little, pushing it. And then the following is the last is 21-second hug, which one of our doctors, he's a clinical psychologist, he calls himself the hug doctor, and Dr. Stone will be there talking about why 21-second hugs are important. And he's got a program where you hug 21 people for 21 days for 21 seconds each hug. And the actual nationality group hug will be a 21-second hug to kind of bring that and tie that all together.
Perfect. So January 21st, thehugmob.com and the hugalliance.net are the 2 places to sign up. We do need the sign up. Now, the tickets to get in are
it's free. Yeah.
So there's no reason why I should not be looking at your eyes and getting a hug from you on January the 21st, which is a week from this Sunday in the afternoon. And while you're at it, you don't have to come and wait for the event. Please do. This is your personal invitation. Come to Agape International Spiritual Center, which is a trans-denominational, it doesn't matter. We love everyone's way to love. How's that?
Yeah,
it is
love.
We love. Yes, we're a place for individual transformation and to support everyone in becoming a beneficial presence on the planet. Big Brother, how was that for a commercial?
It will live stream as well.
It is
going to be live streamed
out of AgapeLive.com.
Out of Agape, so on livestream.com, and we are also going for those that are unable to attend in person. There, you can register for. Basically, it's a virtual gift bag, which is going to have some amazing things from Andy and Soleros, as well as a lot of other surprises from sponsors and other people in the Hug Alliance. A lot of value in that. We're calling it the virtual hug bag.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So beautiful. That's an awesome thing. So I'm getting the signal that it is time to break to thank the sponsors that make this show possible. If you are into love or peace or prosperity and you have a product and service that you would like to highlight on this show about hope and happiness, please do contact me at the number 4balance.org, and we'll get your product and service on as soon as possible. And we'll be back in 2 and 2. Remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
No way! I'm so cool. I'm so hot. I'm so hungry. I'm so full.
Did that complaining sound familiar to you? Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, your cheerleader for hope and happiness 88% of the time. And they also call me the Asian Oprah. Well, I have a perfect app for you if you want to lose negative weight and stop complaining. Yes, the 21-day Fast from Complaining with Dr. Marissa app is now available. Every day you'll get a balance tip that keeps you from complaining, as well as some sound effects. If you do complain and you press a button, it will give you a sound to keep you from complaining. And if you make it the entire day without complaining, you'll get a nice warm applause. And there's a YouTube link also to help you, not complain. And then at the end of the 21 days, because it takes 21 days to create a good habit, you'll get an overall score as well as a way to post your triumph with your friends and family on Facebook. So don't complain, have fun, and remember it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
Peace in, peace out.
Are you tired of being tired? Are you ready for more balance in your life? Then come to the beach and work with Dr. Marissa, motivational speaker, author, organizational psychologist, and host of the 2016 Podcast of the Year Top 10 in Health award-winning show, Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. If you are ready to choose more hope and happiness no matter what's happening around you, then go to www.drmarissa.tv today. And welcome back. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and every Thursday at 7, Saturday at 1 on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, home of Dave Ramsey and Stephanie Miller, as well as the Asian Oprah, and that is on AM 1050, FM 106.5, FM 102.3, and syndicated everywhere that iHeartRadio is. So there's no excuse to not find more hope and happiness with me. Today, I am so delighted to have two fabulous guys who we've been talking about loving and hugging this whole time. If you missed any of it, you can watch the rebroadcast on Thursday and then next week on YouTube, my YouTube channel. But it is Andy Vargas and Rick Morrison. Andy Vargas is not just the lead singer on Santana. Dun, 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 dun. He is also the beginning, or not beginning, I guess Solaris has been around for a while, but I love that name, Solaris, or Solar, never mind.
So here, you know, Eros is the god of love, the Greek god of love,
Oh, I
right?
didn't even make that connection.
So there's two, meanings to Soleros.
Yeah.
Boleros, R&B soul, in as far as a style of music, and then, our soul, for me is filled with love, and Eros is the god of love, So I mean,
Love
it. And someone actually brought that to my attention from Canada.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. One of my friends from Canada said, oh, I know why you did it. I said, really? And she said, yes, Eros, the god of love, and they were Greek, and I said, oh my God. It's beautiful. You shine some new light on that.
Yeah. That's great. Where are you playing next?
So on the 21st, we play at the Agape Spiritual Center. What time do we start? Maybe 2:30.
The event's 2:30 to 5:30, and headlining it a little bit later in that afternoon, but about 4 p.m.
Okay, with Santana, we play at the Mandalay Bay House of Blues, starting on the 24th. Las Vegas.
For how long? Because I'll plan a trip up there. I would love to go.
Be my guest. Yeah. No,
I've seen that show. It's amazing because it's so intimate.
So excited.
So intimate.
Yeah, because I have this free trip, so now I know when I'm going.
Special reason. Yeah.
Totally.
I'll carry the bags.
I'm there.
I'm good.
Absolutely.
We'll be also playing at the Vibratos restaurant later in the year. Here it's in Beverly Glen, the Vibrato restaurant, as well as Spaghettini's in Seal Beach.
That's my hometown.
Oh, Seal Beach?
I've actually performed there.
Oh, really?
And Najee actually said that I had a voice like an angel. Isn't that nice?
Well, you do. Your spirit is angelic.
Oh, thank you.
So that's not surprising.
Long time ago, in my I'm a retired lounge lizard.
All right,
yeah, if you listen to the outro music, that's me singing.
Oh, beautiful.
And then at the beginning, too.
Yeah.
But
I like that music.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Maybe we can jam together, huh?
Yeah, come on and jam with anytime.
Oh,
my musicians are great. Hello to Joe Mendez, my partner in the band, Rodney Alejandro, and everybody else in the band. Some amazing musicians, great friends. They're here based in Los Angeles. I opened a rehearsal studio, and we're in there all the time, just working things out, working out kinks and building something. We have music being released this year. You can find it all at solerosrecords.com, andyvargas.com, and I'm also working on my foundation. the Andy Vargas Foundation.
Tell me about that.
Well, we're mentoring kids and starting a music program in San Bernardino, working directly with the Makerspace program that works in partnership with the City College of San Bernardino.
Oh.
And so beginning in February, I'm here gratefully with my good friend Daniel, who's taking pictures of us and video in the studio here. He will be teaching the kids video and photography. And I have another really good friend of mine, Vision, who will be teaching the kids the audio side of things. We have the city assembly member, Eloise Reyes, who is actually hand-picking the children to come and work with us in our program.
Wow.
So thank you, GAR, in San Bernardino, for helping to organize all this. Victor Christie from Sacramento. And I mean, we've just got everyone coming together, you know, and purely the whole focus of this is just to inspire. And I'm just going to do it how I know how to do it. People say, why are you doing like music? Well, duh. You know, that's what I know how to do.
Right,
that's what
right.
inspired me. What inspired you? I mean, I used to be, you know, 13 years old and pretend like I was doing all of this, pretend like I was in your seat. And I would have my cousins in, and I put microphones up because my dad, you know, he had all the gear. We put headphones. I had a little realistic Radio Shack mixer, and I held radio shows, and we talked about.
I think we have a new show here at UBN.
Well, you know, so it's what makes it, you know, I wake up every morning just like, wow, what new can we do today in this field, in this world? There's just a you know, world of possibilities.
Yeah.
And so I want to just pass that along.
Yeah.
You know, and then and just, you know, like us getting together and talking, us hugging, us doing that. Kids don't do that.
Right.
They're in here.
They're in their devices.
They're doing this, which on one hand it is connection, right? You are connecting with something, but we are totally in desperate need of, because it is a high-tech, low-touch society. Everybody talks about that, and here's a solution.
We can't fight it.
No,
right?
We gotta join them.
You got to join them, you know. And so
we
need people like us to infuse this out there and remind them this, because where is all of this? Is Apple talking about this?
No.
Right. And kids are, you know, they're learning from us, but they're born perfect. They're born to connect and hug and do that until we kind of strip them of that because of the culture that we are creating for ourselves with technology and things like that. So, you know, we just keep them in their purest form, which is their essence. Then they just kind of, you know, stay into that. And that is a really good point. One of the things I loved about with Andy that he was doing with the foundation was that it was so heart-centered around children, because there are, you know, they're the ones that need what's real, and we're bringing back the real for them. You know, I want to help children write books. There's so many things that are coming through me now that I want to be able to do to empower children. But it all, you know, giving back to kids and seeing how they benefit and retain their essence and their authenticity, nothing greater.
No, it is it is a gift. We get more from them than we give to them. I've always, you know, every time I have a bad day, I try to go find a kid. I want to find a kid, and I ask for a hug. And, you know, that's my greatest compliment in my entire life, is that children and dogs love me. That's my, you know, I'll be sitting in, I get that from my dad, you know, they'll just, I can make them smile and make them laugh. Please share all of that with me, and I'll also broadcast it. And I'll get it on my KCAA station.
Thank you so much.
Because we're in San Bernardino.
Oh gosh, that'd be
so
amazing.
That would be like a perfect.
So we're working in conjunction with KVCR as well.
Okay.
So we talk
well,
about maybe doing some
I'll be
stuff.
mad about that. That is a competition.
Oh, are they really?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm totally kidding.
Here.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally
kidding. But you know, I would like to say one thing.
Yes, please.
And you know, I'd like to say thank you to Padres contra el Cáncer, you know, and Elvia. There at Padres, because when I started working with them through George Lopez, you know, I sang a song as they were, a good friend of mine, Oscar Cartaya, had invited me to come and play, and I saw they were honoring George Lopez, you know, the work that he's done for them, and you know, I saw a video, and you know, I have a connection to you know, family, you know, lost with cancer, and I said, I want to get involved in this, you know. And when I started going to the Children's Hospital and going around and introducing myself to the kids and the families and giving hugs and just introducing Padres, that was what ignited me to start the Andy Vargas Foundation. I'm like, I've got to do this as well. And Elvia has been monumental in opening my eyes to, you got to do this work.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you, Elvia, if you're listening to this.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks
and
for
that's
your
why,
yes to that.
Yeah, and that's why you're on the show. I mean, I have a lot of people who want to come on the show who are big actors, TV, screen, and it's like, what do you do with your limelight? If you do something with your limelight, you're on. We'll book you. Fran Drescher, to
Love
the
her.
Cancer Schmancer, right?
Love her. I was on her show once.
Yeah, so it's all about what you're doing with your limelight. Corey Feldman, that's why we're here. We're here to take whatever has happened to us. My father died of lymphoma, and so, whatever we can do because of what's happened to us. It's not, I heard this great, I think it was Jason Cisneros this weekend at the event. He said, it's not what happened to you, it's what happened for you. So if we can all, we're humankind. We are here, all the things that have happened to us are here to happen so we can make one life breathe easier because we have lived and understand what it is like to go through that. That's what life is about. And I hope you feel all the love and the hug energy that has been coming out today from my wonderful guests. Do we have anything else before I ask you my last question? No? Did we cover everything?
I would like
January
to say
21st.
Thank you to Rick.
Oh,
thank you, Rick. This is big. This is big. What's happening here and what you started and allowed for me to, be a part of and connect and do with you, is just, exactly what I want to be doing in my life.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Take that in. Take a breath.
Yeah, thank you.
Just take that in. Yeah, and we don't have roving cameras, otherwise we will be hugging. That was a big hug. And you took the words out because my last question is, who would you like to thank? And you just did that. That's I always ask my guests, the last question is, who would you like to thank for being supportive and helping you be the magnificent being that you are? So you did that. We'll go to Rick. And then we'll come back to you.
I'd like to thank Shauna, my daughter, because she, along with all children, is helping me and others to rise. And it stimulated a title of a book that I used from Uncle Beckwith. It takes a child to raise a village, and wrote around that and how powerful kids are. So I've learned so much from Shauna, my little avatar. Thank you, Shauna.
How old is she now?
She's 7.
7.
Yeah.
I look forward to flashing peace with her and some pictures.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anyone else you want to thank? You've been like a roving gratitude machine this entire show. So really, is there anybody else that you haven't thanked?
It's what it's what I feel.
Yeah.
And I sweat from it.
Oh.
I sweat from the warmth and that I feel because that's where I want to live. And who I met in that frequency and validated that what I felt as a child through my life. Thanks to my parents for giving me that, and my dad for giving me that gift. But who validated that was Carlos Santana.
Oh, beautiful.
So I can't even say.
Yeah. Oh, and tears of the disaffected that keep your heart soft. So good. I love a man that cries.
Yeah.
So, and that is it. We could talk for another hour and a half, I'm sure. I'm so grateful to both of you for coming on. Please do meet us all January 21st. Come for the third service at 11:30 at agapelive.com. You can always live stream there and just follow it all the way through. Please do keep in touch with me. Take a look at the nationalities that I'm going to be posting so that we can. Do you know, Guinness, are they asking for passports for proof?
They're not going to ask for passports, but they're going to want a reference that somebody was actually born
there.
somewhere. Yeah, where they were born.
So bring your proof
Yeah,
that you were born there, which is fine. I mean, this is a serious, we want to do it legitimately.
Yeah, they really want to document it and have a reference, right?
Yeah. So we'll see you January 21st, the 23rd annual 32nd National Hugging. I knew there was a National Hugging Day. Please do join us there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, my guests. It's been delightful.
Thank you, Dr. Marissa.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is time at the end of the show where I close by inviting you to step up to my balance bar. And that is how to balance with me. And I do have some fabulous Asian Oprah giveaways to start off. I have 1,000 tickets. If you are listening and you are living in London, England, or you are going to be visiting London, England, I would like you to go to my website because I am going to just post the link there. It is for the Best of You Expo in London, England, and that is an event that I will be repeating because I'm going to be speaking for that event March 23rd and 24th here in Long Beach at the Long Beach Convention Center. So the Best of You Expo is where you need to go and register. There's a link there for 1,000 free tickets. Hopefully all my Dr. Marissa listeners that are in the London area can go and attend that and then fly over to Long Beach for the one here. If you would like to, I think they're also still looking for speakers and exhibitors, so let me know if you're interested in that. As well, I am going to be this weekend in San Diego. Please do join me at the ExtremeLeadershipExperience.com. Steve Farber, who did the interview of me in Inc. magazine, is holding a giant business conference / party / CD release / birthday celebration of himself at this wonderful weekend at the San Diego Hilton DoubleTree in downtown. And I will be teaching my balanced Tai Chi Gong, promoting inner peace one breath at a time. So if you're interested in expanding your moving meditation practice, please do sign up. Also there will be Twisted Sister, Jay French, and Sandra Joseph, who is the longest running Christina in the Phantom of the Opera. She's also one of the guests, so it's going to be an amazing weekend. Join me there, ExtremeLeadershipExperience.com. Also, you heard in the ad, 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa is in round 79. So if you haven't signed up already, go to drmarissa.tv and sign up for a good life habit. If you cannot complain for 21 consecutive days, you will get a prize, a pack of my motivational cards. So also get the app that's on both platforms to help you not complain. Also, if you want to come to the beach and work with me and have more hope and happiness in your life, I have one more slot for my 2018 Life Balance Coaching roster. So I would love to have you just sign up to talk to me. We'll do an assessment to see if there's a fit, and then we'll be on our way for more hope and happiness. You can also join me in Sedona the weekend after Mother's Day for my annual Sedona retreat, Balancing in the Vortex, where I'll give you balance tools on how to be more in 88% of your happiness. So the early bird registration goes until February 14th, and that is $200 off. So you'll want to register for that. Next week, well, also, I have to tell you, Dr. Pat Allen, your number one, she was Millionaire Matchmakers therapist. She's been on my show. She's been on Oprah 4 times. She's been on Asian Oprah 6 times. She's coming back for my 7th year on Valentine's show, so you're not going to want to miss that. It is my number one YouTube viewed. I think we're in the 10,000 views just for that episode. So she is coming back. Wanted to let you know that for the February 12th show. I have lots more wonderful people coming next week. You know, this is not usually a music show, but as you saw, I had Andy Vargas today, Santana. I've had Keiko Matsui from Paul Cardall to Tony Tennille from the Captain Tennille to Aaron Dickens from the Manhattan Transfer. If you missed any of those, go to my YouTube channel and watch those. Next week, it's another music. It is the lead singer from Jefferson Starship. Kathy Richardson will be my guest on the show as well. We'll have Zooming In, Sha-na-na. So you can't miss next week's show. Please do keep it tuned to a show about hope and happiness called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, E-I. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.